said, we got to give you guys something to talk about, right?
Mm-hmm.
So then immediately I thought to myself, okay, well then that means that there's going to be some shenanigans this offseason. Like they're going to find some type of way
Hmm.
to create some type of a mess, to create some form of a distraction. And of course, they used the whole JT situation to create a distraction.
How is it going, Mr. Absol? Welcome back. This is the Third and Wrong YouTube channel for all those who are watching. But how are you doing, Mr. Absol? Welcome back.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Glad to be back. I am excited. There is football. It's preseason football, but
Yes.
it's still football.
Oh yeah.
Week one is almost here.
Oh yeah. No, it's creeping on us very very quickly at this point. My name is Dillon. For
Mhm.
those that are watching, you can kind of see my fancy little taglines right here. Also, Mr. Absolutely there on Twitter. You can catch him. He is tweeting up a storm all the time. So go and follow him real quick. But this video here, we're going to be breaking down Jonathan Taylor. I guess news, rumors, shit talking, stuff like that. So we'll be breaking all of Jonathan Taylor stuff since we've kind of been missing an action since. But we will
Mhm.
also talk about Anthony Richardson, especially his week one preseason little display there. And
Yes,
we'll be talking
sir.
about other things for the Colts. So, but
Mhm.
yeah, we're going to be doing that. We're going to drop this quick little intro video for you guys, and we'll catch you on the other side.
Let's
Boom.
go.
Yeah.
Betrayal scars, can't stop thinking about those stab wounds. We might not catch him today, but he gon' die soon.
All right, like I said, we are going to be talking about the Colts today. Finally, we get to talk about Jonathan Taylor, Anthony Richardson, and everything else that we can kind of get our minds on, get our eyes on, I guess, on Twitter and everything like that. But one question I had for you, real quick: what is Colts Twitter like right now? Like, what is the big thing going on? What's the um, topic du jour or whatever the phrase is. What are you guys talking about, and what's kind of like the big issues?
I think Coach Twitter is as spicy as always, especially because it's almost time for the regular season to start. The big topic of discussion this week, fortunately for us, was not Jonathan Taylor. It was AR and his performance in his first preseason game. And of course, you have a good portion of the fan base who is very happy about how he performed, who is, seeing the signs of promise. And then you have the other side who are saying things like, oh, he was struggling in the passing game. His numbers looked very pedestrian. He had some, missed throws and things like that. But I'm not really sure why those people are surprised because this is this man's first ever game on this stage, and it's his 14th start since he was in college. Yeah, he had 13 in college, and then this was his first one in the NFL. So it's gonna take some time, but there were a lot of good things to me that I saw that I really liked. I liked Shane Steichen referenced his poise, the way he carried himself. Ryan Kelly was saying that after he threw the first initial interception, he wanted to see how he responded coming back into the huddle. And apparently he just went back into the huddle like it was business as always. He just next play, next drive. And, you could even see it on the field. It showed where the next few series that he had, he drove down the field. We moved the ball no problem. We had a couple of pass interference calls, but that's a testament to our wide receivers getting it done. They were manhandling them on the outside. And of course, he missed a couple easy throws, but that's to be expected. I loved the fact that he only had two rushes this game.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
that, yeah, he had two rushes and he had 12 pass attempts. So that means that Shane is going to let him drop back and distribute the ball to our playmakers. And I love that. We'll probably use him in short yardage if a play breaks down or if he decides to scramble. Or I think we'll get like 5 to 7 designed run plays a game. But he had two rushes this past game, and that was amazing.
Yeah. Well, he got more than 5 yards out of the pocket too, which I
Yeah.
just man, I haven't seen that since the boy here, Andrew Luck, has
Yeah,
been on the
right?
field. It's been a minute.
Right?
I guess Carson Wentz did get out there, but that I'm
Yeah.
forgetting that whole season.
Right.
Um,
Yeah, right. I just want to forget I'll leave that all behind us.
Yeah, yeah. So okay, so my thoughts on Anthony Richardson. I was excited to watch the game. I'm setting up my new TV while I'm watching it and stuff like that. So kind of pumped about it. And good run by Evan Hull, good catch by I
Mhm.
think like Isaiah McKenzie, something like that, and then he floats
Mhm.
one to the Bills DB. And my first
Ooh.
reaction, I was just like, okay, I'm laughing. Like I
Oh.
there's nothing you can do but laugh because that's just what this year is going to be. And if you have any
Mhm.
other expectations of Anthony Richardson must do this X Y Z or whatever, like if you're not expecting interceptions at bad times and times that it just doesn't even make sense to throw the ball there, like if you don't expect that this year, I'm sorry, you're just gonna have a bad year.
Mhm.
This year is about Anthony Richardson working it out, and honestly,
Mhm.
we can still win a lot of games with him working it
That's
out.
true.
And so I'm not too worried about Anthony Richardson throwing a bad pass or you know rifling in the ball a little bit too quick on some guys and stuff like that. Like I'm not
Mhm.
too worried about that this year. That's to be expected. But what I loved the highlight of the game for me was a drop pass by Alec Pierce in the
Oh.
on the pylon basically. Just a beautiful 40 to 43 yard just like flick of the wrist landed right in Alec
Crazy.
Pierce's like forearms and just couldn't reel it in. The defender was playing great defense. Like there's no room to
Mhm.
get the ball anywhere else. So being able to see like okay, he can get the ball wherever the hell he wants when he is feeling it. It's just what do we need to take away from his process or
His
footwork, whatever it is.
responsibilities.
Yeah, like what do we need to get out of his way so that is just
Mhm.
happening all the time.
Mhm.
Josh Allen, like I know the comparison's always there with Josh Allen, I guess, but like
Right.
he did have a rough, first year, maybe even first 2 years,
First two
but
years.
he's still throwing interceptions, he's still turning the ball over, but the
Mhm.
factor that he plays on the offense is the reason why Anthony Richardson is also going to be a big factor in the Colts winning a lot of games early, even though his performance may not be, what you see from I wouldn't even say Mahomes, but like a Derek Carr or a Aaron
Right. Yeah.
Rodgers or
He's not going
someone.
to average 230 yards passing a game.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. That's not going to
So
be his. That's not going to be his strength.
yeah, so I'm excited, and like you said, like they're not using him as Lamar Jackson. He's not this Justin Fields character where he's going to be running and running and running, and sooner or later he's out of the league because he's taking too many hits. So
Right.
I'm excited to see that. But what are your thoughts around other than the two big names right now, Jonathan Taylor and Anthony Richardson? What are your thoughts around some of those the surrounding supporting cast, I should say?
I like the supporting cast. I remember in the pre-draft process, I was thinking to myself that out of the teams that were in the top five, we probably had the best, infrastructure for whichever rookie quarterback was coming in. So we have, a decent O line. We had an elite unit at one point, but some of those guys left in free agency. So the left side of the line actually graded out pretty well according to PFF. So that means that the left tackle, left guard, and Ryan Kelly, they did pretty well. They had a pretty decent game, but that right guard spot is a concern. There were a couple of guys that went in at that right guard spot, but they didn't really do that well. So that's gonna have to be a priority. Braden Smith was out, but I'm sure once he comes back in, he'll slide right into that right tackle spot. Or if there's a situation where Freeland becomes more comfortable at that right tackle spot, we could maybe put him there and then switch Smith back to right guard because he has experience at right guard. Or maybe Freeland could play right guard and then we have Smith at right tackle. I think
Yeah,
those two are probably going to have to man that right side and shore it up. But the left side was amazing. AR was getting little to no pressure from that left side. That interception that you talked about earlier, he threw it because of pressure that came off the right side. And I think the right guard went to the next level instead of picking up the initial defender that was in front of him. And I think he left it to the running back, but Evan Hull let the man slip. And then, that's what created the pressure. And then he had the back foot throw, and that's
yeah,
what created the interception. Yeah, so I think, the right side of the line needs to be shored up a little bit. But as far as the receivers, that pass that Alex Smith dropped at the 1 yard line, like I understand that, there are plenty of other elite guys that drop those passes or they don't survive the floor, things like that. But if we're gonna maximize AR especially year one, if he makes a play like that where he drops the ball in the bucket,
You got to
if the
reward him.
ball falls in your hands, you got to come up with the ball for him.
Yeah.
We've got to make that happen because if he comes down with that pass, his stat line looks something like 6 for 8 for 102 yards, a touchdown, and an interception. So
Yeah.
it's like if that was his stat line for a few drives in his first ever game, then people would be like, okay, well, then it wasn't as bad as it looked. That's why I'm not really worried about it.
Yeah.
But I think our guys are gonna have to help him out a little bit. There were a couple sailed balls from him, so he's gonna have to work on that a little bit and get the balls a little bit lower. The pass that he had to Killing Granson up the seam was beautiful. He got it right past the linebacker, right in front of the safety, and that was a really, really nice throw. So yeah, he did some very promising things, but the guys around him, gotta come up with those passes. They gotta come up with those catches.
Yeah, for sure. I really liked two guys on offense at least. I liked Isaiah McKenzie, and I like what I saw from Josh Downs, and that's something that
Hmm.
the Colts haven't had in a minute. Is someone that you can get the ball to. I don't know if they've ever had a McKenzie or a Downs type character where you get the ball in their
Probably
hands.
Ty.
Yeah,
Ty
Ty.
was probably
Yeah,
the
for
last
sure,
one.
for sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
so you get the ball in either of those guys' hands, and they can pop off quick 8, 10 yards, whatever, and get down or whatever. So I'm excited to see that kind of be implemented in this offense. I think it's something that we've kind of needed for a little bit. And then I'm also very excited about Darius Rush and just
Oh
the
yeah.
surrounding just DB core. It seems like they're holding up pretty well. So I'm excited to see how that kind of furthers on. And then the last thing here, big topic here, Jonathan Taylor. Um, your heart. Are you saying Jonathan Taylor
Hardcore.
stays or
Of course.
okay?
Of course.
Mentally, mind wise, like in your brain, are you thinking Jonathan Taylor gets traded this year?
No, not at all. Okay, so the way that I see it is, it's starting from the draft process or even the pre-draft process when Chris Ballard was being interviewed and they were trying to fish him for answers as to who he was going to take, and he just kept running around in circles and kept saying a bunch of stuff. And one of the things that he said that I thought that caught my attention was that he said, we got to give you guys something to talk about, right?
Mm-hmm.
So then immediately I thought to myself, okay, well then that means that there's going to be some shenanigans this offseason. Like they're going to find some type of way
Mm.
to create some type of a mess, to create some form of a distraction. And of course, they used the whole JT situation to create a distraction. And I feel like if you look at the concrete statements that were made, Jim Irsay complained about the bargaining agreement. He said he complained about the running back market, saying that the agents are negotiating in bad faith because they want to go back to the table when the CBA is technically brand new. So he didn't really say anything like, oh, well, Jonathan Taylor is asking for too much money. He was just saying, you guys agreed to this. This
Yeah.
is what it's going to be until 2030. So you guys are either going to have to show up and play, or if you don't want to play, a younger guy will come in and take your spot, which I don't see anything wrong with that. If the CEO of Apple came and said that, like, if you don't perform, then you're going to have to go. Somebody else will come in.
Yeah.
It's really not that big of a deal. But then when, his agent started like messing things up, but I'm not really worried about like agents and news reports and other outside sources and things like that, like the things that they say, because all they can do is speculate. And they throw around the word sources like it's no big deal.
Yeah.
They're like, well, sources say, okay, well, which sources? Where are the numbers? Like, where's the concrete statement in what you just reported? Like the whole Kareem Hunt thing. Kareem Hunt was offered more money, but we still never got the numbers. Maybe Kareem Hunt was offered $1 million by the Saints, and then we offered him $2 million.
Or
It's like
1.3
that's
million
significantly
or something.
more.
Yeah.
Well, 1.3 exactly
Yeah.
right. That's more than what he was offered. But unless you
Yeah.
get the numbers, it makes it seem like we offered him 10 to 12 million. So I think all of it is noise. I personally believe that Jonathan Taylor went to go speak to Jim Irsay, and Jim Irsay spoke to him. He sat him down and he said, "Listen, this is the situation. This is how it's going to work. I don't think that he offered him a contract. I genuinely do believe that Jim Irsay told him that he's going to wait to see how he performs in this offense, wait to see how he performs, with the guys that we brought in, because we have a brand new offense, brand new offensive coordinator, a brand new offensive staff, essentially. So, therefore, it wouldn't really make much sense to negotiate with him now, especially because he's not a free agent yet. So he has
Yeah.
to play this year for us, or he risks losing money. And I'm pretty sure he doesn't want to do that. And
Yeah.
him being hurt last year, and I appreciate him so much for trying to, battle through that injury and trying to carry us as much as he could. And he did an awesome job at that when he played. But
Yeah.
that really hurt him in the negotiation too, because he's not healthy. So,
Well,
that's
and
not really. Go ahead.
I was gonna say it reminds me of Kenny Moore last year too, where he tried to kind of get a new contract before the season, and I mean Ballard said, "Hey, like we gave you a chance when no one else gave you a chance, and we gave you a pretty good deal. Let's just play out this deal and we can move on or whatever." So, I know the Colts are in that situation again with Jonathan Taylor, where it's like you are definitely important, but we're not going to tie ourselves down when we have these other things going on, and that's just kind of how the Colts have been. I think personally that I think Jonathan Taylor plays. I think um, he'll play whatever if he's healthy and stuff like that. I really hope he is, and then I think he gets franchise tagged. That's another piece of leverage that the Colts can use. And then, he can either play on that, which is still like you're getting top 3 or top 5
Top five.
money for that position that year. And then, that's kind of what Josh Jacobs is doing, I guess. And then you can negotiate another deal there. So, like, this just reminds me of Lamar Jackson, where everyone was making this big old deal. The sides were too far gone; they can't come back together. There's nothing that anyone
Lamar
can do.
demanded a trade.
Yeah, it's the worst situation ever, and until the pen is signed. So it is what it is. So I really hope he stays. He does have a lot of mileage coming out of college, and still he's got a lot of mileage for a running back in these days. So we'll see. I mean I wouldn't be hurt if there was a trade and we got a few day 2 or day 3 picks and stuff like that from him. But
I'd hate it.
I love Jonathan Taylor, and I would love him to play here until his wheels fall off.
I get it. Yeah.
Yeah. But
Yeah, I definitely get it.
we have more to talk about next week when we get week 2 all wrapped up and stuff like that. I'm sure there's going to be more Jonathan Taylor news when he does step on the field. Sounds like it might be this week. But stay tuned for that. Next week we'll be talking more. Hopefully we get to see more Anthony Richardson, more of these rookies and stuff like that play. But thank you for hopping on here, Mr. Absolutely. Like I said, he's on Twitter. Any last words before we head out?
Well, I am actually going to be launching my betting page in September. The past 2 years, I've been looking at some other guys, some analysts who do it professionally, some guys who give out picks and things like that. And I think that I did pretty well last year with the bets that I was placing, some of the parlays and things like that. So this year, I'm going to dive into the water. I'm going to give it my best shot. So my first video, I'm going to try and plan it the last week of preseason before the regular season starts. It's going to be a few intro videos, and then after that, I'm going to get the season rolling. So, for all of you followers out there, follow me on my Twitter, and I'll be posting some of the videos and letting you know when they're going to be released.
Perfect. Sweet. Well, thank you for hopping on here. Anything else, just drop a like, comment, and subscribe. Really helps us out. We are getting into the full swing of things. We don't only talk about Colts on this channel, so we have 2 other people that I normally host with, and we talk about the NFL, Patriots, Browns, Colts, all that kind of good stuff. So follow for that, and other than that, hope you have a good year. Football is back.
All right, let's go, baby.